Hello pilots, this is MMBV Falkwolf, and in this video I am going to show you my extrapolation for the online population of 2.0 pretty much at this moment. Over here on the left we have a sample data of 1.9 population online counters. So from 2 to 3 there are 304 people on, from 3 to 4 308 people are on. Here is 0 because of the server reset, which I'm pretty sure still happens today, and so on and so forth. And if you make the assumption that during this hour 304 people played, and then the next hour a new set of people played, so everyone the previous hour got off and a new set of people played, so a new set of 308 people were playing. You've seen that for all the hours you can get a rough assumption of the total amount of people that played per day, which gets you that number down here. And that gives you a rough idea of the amount of people that played in a day. And right now, the other night, there's an event going on of personal points ranking, where you play a battle and get personal points and you go up the leaderboard. So I played one battle the other night, and after an hour of the event being started, I placed at 570, roughly. And after about 20 hours, I placed at 2,200 on the leaderboard. And after 24 hours, I placed at 2,400. There are several things you can do with that information. What you can do with this is you can find the average amount of people that played in 20 hours, which is this number over here, 116. So in 20 hours, an average of 116 people were online for 20 hours. And we have this average for 1.9 over here, 378, which gives us this column here, which is the percentage of the average that was online throughout the day. So from 2 to 3, there was 80% of the average online. At the peak, there was 133% of the average online. So if we assume that these rates are the same for 1.9 and 2.0, you get this column over here, which is the orange down here. So this is the average multiplied by the percentage that would be online during that hour. And if you add these up, you get this number down here. But this number down here isn't a very good assumption because it only goes in, it's missing a few hours. It doesn't account for the people playing Tier 3 and below. But since 2,500 people were playing in 24 hours, we had about 500 people playing Tier 3 and below. You get about 3,000, which is a pretty good estimate. And then there's something else you can do with that. You see, over here, it doesn't account for the fact that 570 people had logged on into the game and played during that hour. This assumes that only 144 people played during that hour. Well, I know that 570 people actually did log on and play at least one battle. So what we can do is find the percentage of the total population that played during this hour, which came out to 19% of the total population played during this hour when 570 people were playing. So we know that an average of 4% of the population was playing throughout the rest of the day, which is very close to this number over here, the same basically the same percentages of the population was playing throughout the day over here. So if we extrapolate this onto this table over here, we get the average we get the population percentages of the population playing throughout the day while accounting for this 570. And if we add all these up, assuming that only 115 people played for that hour, 116 people played for that hour, you get 3,393 people playing in a day, which is very close to our assumption that 3,000 people were playing. Excuse me. So we can find the relative error here, which comes to about 15%. I'm sorry. This comes out to about 13% error, because we know that really close to this number we're playing, and that shows that this is a really good assumption that only this number of people were playing that hour, only this number of people were playing that hour, even though people were getting on and off or staying longer than an hour, less than an hour, all the time. So that can tell us basically how many people were playing online during 1.9, because we don't know that number. So multiply our sum by 88%, because that's 100 minus 13. You get this number of people that played in a day during 1.9. So essentially, now that we have this number, we know that, I mean, it's a pretty poor assumption to say that this is the only people that play. You have to account for the people that play only once a month, once a week, every other day, that aren't playing constantly. So if you double this, just as, pretty safe assumption, you get about 6,000 people playing right now during 1.9 in a week, in a month, and 13,800 people playing during 1.9, and admittedly, one of the lulls. Which just goes to show how poorly 2.0 is doing right now. I hate to say it. But since Wargaming doesn't want to provide this data for us, I'm pretty darn sure that this is a really close approximation. Around here, it's probably somewhere in between the two extremes of the 570 and the 114, 144 that are playing. It's probably somewhere in between there, because I mean there were probably about 300 people online in this. Can't see my cursor in the prime time. In the prime time area right down there. So yeah, something needs to be done to get new players in, or bring back old ones. All right, thanks for watching. I may do a flight physics video next. Who knows? All right, clear skies.